Okay, so today we will explore how do project managers must identify and manage diverse stakeholders while making strategic trade-offs between time, cost, and quality to achieve true project success. So because as we will see, success means different things to different people. Okay, so now we are moving into project phase with D1, which means that is the define it, where we will identify our stakeholders, develop our strategy, and establish what success looks like before we move forward with planning and execution. Okay, to start with, let us break down the three key elements we need to define in any project. So first, the stakeholders, okay? So these are any individuals or groups with an interest in our project. So these are from customers and delivery teams to anyone affected by the outcome, okay? Second, the requirements. So it means these are what each stakeholder actually wants from our project. So whether that is explicit specifications, implicit expectations like a good working environment, or legal and competitive needs. Okay? And finally is the measures. It is how well this is how we will actually determine if we have met those requirements through compliance levels, customer satisfaction, the return on investment, or other relevant metrics. So, understanding these three elements upfront is really critical for project success. Okay, so when identifying stakeholders, we categorize them into two main groups, okay? So the first one is the external stakeholders. So these are people outside our project team or our organization. So who are these? So these are your customers, the sponsors, the regulatory bodies, or the general public who may be affected by our project. And then second is the internal stakeholders. So these include our project members, organizational leadership, governance structures, and anyone within our company who has a role in or is impacted by the project process. So the challenge is not just identifying these groups, but actually knowing where to draw the line, since stakeholder lists can quickly become overwhelming if we try to include everyone who might have even the slightest interest. Okay, so who exactly are these external stakeholders? So, well, I want you to think of them as everyone outside your immediate project bubble, okay? So you've got your customers. So these are the people you are actually building this for. Then for then for then there is your sponsors, okay? So these folks writing the checks and expecting results. But here is where it gets interesting. The external stakeholders can also include the regulators, the community groups, the competitors, or even the media. So basically, anyone who is not on your payroll but has a skin in the game. So the tricky part, these are often the people with the most influence over your project's success, but at least control over the process itself. Okay, so now let us talk about your internal stakeholders. So these are your allies and colleagues within the organization. We are talking about your project team members who are doing the actual work. So your project sponsors and governance boards who are making the big decisions, and do not forget about those support functions like your HR, your IT, or finance who can make or break your project behind the scenes. Well, the good news, you usually have more direct access to these folks. So the challenge, they often have competing priorities and other projects pulling at their time and attention. Okay, so here is where things get really interesting and messy. Now, look at these quotes from real stakeholders. Okay, I'll be showing the quotes now. Okay, so as you can see, marketing wants it yesterday. The client wants guarantees it will actually work. The team members want stability and leadership. The defense client wants to avoid bad press. The project manager is thinking about long-term legacy. And the sponsor has a hard budget limit with no wiggle room. So, have you noticed the problem? Now, these requirements are pulling in completely different directions, right? So that makes it very messy. Now, speed, as you can see, speed versus quality, transparency versus secrecy, innovation versus risk management. So this is the daily reality of project management. Juggling conflict demands and somehow finding a path that satisfies enough people to keep moving forward. Okay, so here is a game changer in how we think about project success. Traditional monitoring says we are the experts. We will define what success looks like. You just give us data. But participating monitoring flips this on its head. Okay? It says, hey, the people actually affected by this project should have a say in how we measure and adopt it. So instead of rigid, predetermined metrics, we get flexible, community-driven indicators that can evolve as we learn. Now, think of it like the difference between following a strict recipe versus cooking with your community. One approach might be efficient, but the other creates ownership and often better results. Now, the participatory approach is messier, but it is also more responsive to what people actually need. Okay, so this is your stakeholder management roadmap. And it is all about being strategic with your time and energy. Now, I want you to think of it like social media for project managers. Top right, okay? I want you to focus on the top right. Well, let's see if you can see my mouse. I'll try. Okay, for a while. Okay, here you go. Let's make this bigger for you guys to really see. Okay, here you go. Okay, so this is our, okay, so the top right, which is here, okay, so these are the manage closely. These are the folks who has high power and high interest. So these folks can make or break your project. This one, okay? As you can see, it has high power and it has high interests, okay? So you are basically, as I have said earlier, so these folks can make or break your project. So you are basically best friends with them. Okay, you have to be very close to them. Okay, now let's see with the bottom left. So the lurkers, these are the people, these are the monitor only. Okay, these are the folks with low power and low interest in your project. Okay, so I just want you to keep an eye on them. Don't spam them with your updates because they are not that interested at all. Okay, now let us focus on your top left at your influencers. Okay, this is the top left. Top left. So this is what we call the keep satisfied. Okay, so they have power. As you can see, they have high power, but okay, they are not super engaged yet. So you just have to keep them happy and involved. Okay, now I want you to focus on the bottom right in this part, this keep informed folks. Okay, so your bottom right, your engaged, these are your engaged community. They care a lot but cannot directly impact your decisions. Why? They have low power but they have a very high interests. Okay, so just keep them informed and leverage their enthusiasm when it helps your cause. Okay, so I want you to be very sensitive with your power interest stakeholder map. Okay, so welcome to the iron triangle. So what is an iron triangle? Well, this is every project manager's daily reality check. So here is the deal. Okay, the deal here is you cannot have it all. Okay, you want it fast, it is going to cost more, and you will have to compromise on quality. Okay, because as you can see, okay, you cannot have it all. Here you have quality, here you have time, you have cost performance. Okay, as I have said, you want it fast, here's the time. If you choose that you want it fast, it is going to cost more. Okay, this cannot be together, or you will have to compromise on your quality. Oh, let's talk about you want it perfect. Okay, so that we're talking, if you want it perfect, we're talking about quality. So you better give more time or budget. Okay, now let's talk about I want my project to be cheap. If that's the case, then we are talking longer time or fewer bells and whistles. Okay? I want you to focus on this little triangle in the middle. Okay? That is the zone of no brain. Well, it means that trying to optimize everything at once, which basically means you are optimizing nothing. Okay? So it is not possible that you can have the fastest time to finish your project, you can have the cheapest cost, and you can have the high quality all at once. Okay? Well, the trick here, or the main idea here, is that the key is picking your corner early and being crystal clear about what matters most to you for your project. Because either what matters most to you, either you want to have a very you want to finish your project at the earliest time, or at a very least time, but at the same time you want it to be very cheap, and at the same time you want it to have a very high quality. I'm telling you, it is not possible. So this is what the zone of no brain means. Okay, so again, the key is every time you start your project, you have to pick your corner early and being crystal clear about what matters most to you for your project. Because when problems hit, of course, they will. Because projects are uncertain, right? That is one characteristic of a project. You will know exactly what you are willing to sacrifice. Okay, let's say, for example, oh, there's a problem. I have to choose either time or cost. But then again, my focus is high quality. Okay, it's okay for us to have high cost and longer time as long as we will deliver a high quality project. Okay, so at least you already have a clear mission on what your project should be. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here is here is a crucial distinction that separates a good project managers from great ones. Okay, so let's talk about this conformance and performance. Okay, so delivering as okay, sorry. Conformance is about, look at the here, conformance. Conformance is about keeping your promises. Okay? It is delivering as planned, as budgeted, and as specified. Okay? So it is your reliability scorecard. But when we say performance, that is about pushing your boundaries. What is the absolute shortest timeline possible, the rock bottom cost, the highest quality achievable? Okay? So, well, I'd like you to think of it like you are driving. Okay, when your focus or your mission is like, okay, let's be conformance only, well, it is staying at the speed limit you promised. While if you want performance, it is figuring out how fast this car can actually go. Okay? So most projects focus only on conformance, but the best project managers balances both. They deliver what they promised, and at the same time, they explore what is truly possible. The mechanisms to achieve each are completely different. Okay, so let's talk about this balance scorecard. Okay, balance scorecard is brilliant because it forces you to think beyond just the bottom line. Sure, shareholders care about return on investment. Well, that is their perspective. Okay? But that is the perspective one, rather, the return on investment. But let's talk about perspective two. Perspective two asks what is in it for your customers and suppliers. Are you reducing their costs, building goodwill, or opening new market opportunities? Okay? How about perspective three? It looks inward. How does this project actually make your company run better? And here's the most people miss, the perspective four, innovation and learning. Now, even if a project goes over budget, what did you learn that makes the next better one? Now think of Apollo missions, okay? So this Apollo mission massively over budget, but the learning was invaluable. So this framework actually ensures you are capturing value from every angle, not just the obvious financial ones. Okay? Okay, so that is all about the theory in chapter 4. Now, for the project proposal guide questions, okay, for the stakeholder identification, you have to list every department or role affected by the project, as I have said earlier. Example, your HR, your finance, your IT, the operations. And for each stakeholder document, you have to list down their specific interests, okay? Expected project impact and potential resistance or support level, okay? And next, let's proceed to for your strategic alignment questionnaire, you have to precisely match project objectives to your company's your company's current strategic plan, your specific performance metrics, and your budget allocation requirements. And for your detailed success measurement, you have to develop quantifiable metrics for number one, the cost reduction percentage, efficiency improvement target, customer satisfaction score, and employee productivity increase. For the trade-off analysis, it must have the following. Rank project priorities from 1 to 3. Okay? The speed of implementation, total project cost, and quality of the deliverables. So you calculate potential cost implications for priority changes. Now let's go to benefits mapping template. So you have to create a financial impact worksheet showing estimated direct revenue, potential cost savings, projected return on investment, and break-even timeline. Okay, for the risk assessment checklist, I want you to identify top 3 potential project risks, develop mitigation strategies for each risks, and estimate financial impact of each risk scenario. So let's go to your recommendation documentation. So you have to prepare executive summary highlighting the total project value, strategic importance, and expected organizational transformation. Now for the balance scorecard, these are the guide questions, okay? These are the questions for financial, for customer, for internal, and learning and growth. Well, this is just a guide, okay? Not necessarily that you have to answer each of the questions, but these will really guide you to create your own balance scorecard. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 4 theories and the guide questions as well for you to be able to go over your project proposal. So that's it. Have a great day, everyone.